Welcome back to M Hood Fishing, everybody. So I went down to Grand Isle twice, kind of over the weekend, but beginning technically on a Thursday, right? Weather was very, very different pretty much down that way than it was up here where I'm at. In the time it took me to do basically three, because I produced the end of one video, then I produced two videos over the time I spent down there going back and forth, and each time it was much colder up here than it was down there, and just about each time there was major rain events up here. And with the last time I was down there, I think it was raining after I left for a good bit, but definitely up here, right? Definitely torrential downpour events up here where I'm at. Meaning everything, you can assume everything is crap, just because when you're riding around looking at water, everything's going to look dirty. You could still catch fish, but yes, it may very well be crap. But whoo, I just saw a fish break the surface here where we are. So I'm at this ditch. Some people think I come here too much. Well, this is just convenient, because when I go to the post office, like I just did, it's right here. So might as well start here, because the river is absolute chocolate milk. When I first got up, it looked like it was going to be a sunny day, and then it turned into this. It's not actually as late as it may look. It is 10 to 3, which you could consider late because of the time of year. It's winter, right? Let's see if something's back there. It's a shaky head, 1/16 ounce shaky head, because this is fairly shallow right here where we're at, with a June bug finesse worm. I'm starting to hear people say, weather people, right? Like, who was the last person I heard say this that I'm going to tell you about, and I'm going to talk about? Ryan Hall, from Ryan Hall, y'all, the weather guy on YouTube. Other people I've heard say this recently too, but he was the last one I remember talking about it. He was saying how many people in the US, many parts of the US, are going to have the coldest January they've ever had this January, right? And as far as my area is concerned, looks like we're going to have a lot of cold days, especially this week and next week. I don't remember what overnight it is, but it's coming. It's not tonight, but we're going to be get down to 27 for a lot of people across the country. 27's nothing. It's 27 below, that's something, right? But for Southeast Louisiana, anything below 40 is kind of like a nightmare. For some people, it goes below 60 degrees to turn the heat on. Sure, that exists. There's a lot of people that just don't like it in the 40s because of the high humidity. If it's in the 40s like it was earlier this morning, and the wind is blowing pretty good out of the north like it was this morning, you're going to feel that cold a lot more, especially because it's a wet cold opposed to a dry cold. But my goodness, when it gets below 30 degrees here and the wind is blowing out of the north, don't make fun of people when they say it's cold when they're down here, because they are cold. I'm wondering if the bass thing is going to work. It can. It might be challenging. It may be a lot of work. Might want to go somewhere different, somewhere with deeper water. But as far as the system that I'm fishing is concerned, if I go further down, it's where the deeper water is, where this dumps into a bayou, that's probably going to be a lot dirtier. It could be more challenging because we'd have to fish a pressured area, and we won't have too much choice for bank spots. The water's going to be dirtier, but deeper spots holding up a more favorable temperature. Another thing to consider is that yesterday was the full moon, so there could be some kind of discombobulation that the fish are facing. It's just a lot of adverse conditions no matter where you go locally, and because locally is what I have today. I can't go over 100 miles today to find almost clean water and really nice trout. Oh, by the way, thank you for all the birthday wishes, because I recently had a birthday on the 12th, and that's when I did that all-night session starting on the 11th going into the 12th. It was very nice to catch big trout for my birthday. Before I totally give up on the bass thing at the moment, because it could turn on, right? Because sunset might be a different story, and we're not there yet. Let's just go down here to this transition point where it goes from concrete to mud and see if there's anything there. I see some interesting movement in the water that says fish to me. I don't have any heavy precipitation in the forecast today and for the next few days. I think Saturday I have a lot. So I don't think any pumping stations that are connected to this system will be pumping a lot right now. So I think this level that we're seeing isn't going to change while I'm here. This water is dirty, obviously, from runoff and pumping. Starting to feel like I'm in a reordering of things here. I don't know if it's a good track that I'm getting back on, but we're going to have to make a switch. We're going to go quiet on the bass fishing, at least for now. Can't wait to get back on top of it, because January can be good for bass. Fuzzy. This is probably just going to be a slow day all around, but it is the purpose that gets me up out of bed in the morning, is to go fishing. But sometimes I have that purpose, I want to go, and I go, and no, nothing. But I still went. Yeah, there's got to complete it all from point A to point B. Look. Oh, there's a bite right there. Let's see, can we just go bang? Nope. I've got a little bit of slack in the line so the worm isn't suspended constantly, just like too high off the bottom, just right, dangling right, almost touching the bottom. That was insanely loud. I think we're going to have to deal with that repeatedly. Finally. Not very big. I think it's going to be a panfish. Yep. We're going to be getting back on track here. I don't know what it's going to bring. I don't even know where we're going to go sit, but we're going to have a fire, because we're working on something that we'll take to the river. And at the moment, as it stands, I can't promise that sitting on the river next to a fire will give us much more than warmth. Might be a matter of where I choose to sit. Definitely. Very slow. Very slow. There we go. Got you that time. Come here. Little baits. Little baits. Little baits is a good thing. So we got them. We got the little baits. We might be catching little baits, but we don't want to be left with too much of a little bait with nothing hanging off. We don't need to put a new bait on quite yet, but reposition it to where there's something hanging off. It will, even though it's a small bit of worm, it'll still attract something. Even though it's pretty much lifeless, we can still catch something. I don't mind if we catch big baits in the end, but we're going to be throwing little baits on the river. That's why I say little baits are a good thing right now. The younger the bait, the faster it's going to go soft though. So if we do get bigger baits, they'll stay firmer. This is if we can get on the river tomorrow. Look, the bites are starting to roll in a little thick and heavy. I'm already getting a little hit on that. I'm just going to pick it up with the left here. See if we can bang into another little thing. I am curious to see if there are panfish, you know, oh, there we go, other bait fish hanging out anywhere else here other than in this culvert. But they're in the culvert because it's holding a warmer water temp because it's underground, right? There's probably more further back in it underground here because it does go a little bit further before no fish can live in it. I mean, before it loses its depth. There is a transition here from one pipe to another. So the one that we're directly over is big, and that one that keeps going towards the tree is smaller, but can hold these fish. There's a bite right there. Water temperature is definitely key any time of year when you're fishing. Some people don't think about it because they only, you know, most of their fishing is during fair weather. I used to be like that too. You don't necessarily, if you only fish in spring and summer, water temperature isn't necessarily something you give a lot of thought to because, you know, it's warm, the fish are already there. But when it's winter, yeah. I have friends up north that tell me you need at least 8 feet of water in your pond for fish to be able to overwinter when the pond ices over. Any less than that, you could possibly lose fish. So when you have really, really cold temperatures, really, really, really cold, like below freezing down here, it shocks the fish a lot, and they're going to go to a deeper depth. So generally, go look for fish below 8 feet, below 10. It depends on the fish, but go to the deepest holes, right, that you can access and fish different parts of that hole. And that's kind of what we're forced to do today. Not that this is the deepest hole, but it is underground, and that has this insulating factor that holds the temperature better, so fish are going to be back there. But here in a bit, we'll see if we can get anything out away from this culvert here. Let's check out some other positions here. There we go. There's some fish hanging out. It's about the same as what was coming up out of the culvert back there. A little bigger. I just put the bass rod up for the second time. Did get a bite, but actually got 2 bites. It's only 3:57 and it looks really darker to me than it was. We're nowhere close to dark, but we are at that point where I'm not really feeling fulfilled. However, I am fulfilling my purpose of waking up, getting out of bed, and shooting a video. Might not be the best video, but it is this time of year. Maybe I can find more fulfillment here. It's just going to be what it's going to be. Drop shot in this worm. It seems more lively here. If you look, you'll see bait in this vegetation right here, little minnows. It's just this really dirty color. It's probably chocolate milk further down. That was a turtle. There's definitely spotted gar active too. Spotted gar can take a really cold water temp, opposed to alligator gar. Alligator gar do not like cold water. I'm just gonna leave that right there because something's in here. What is it? I don't like this stuff. It always leaves these little stickers on my pants. But there is a sizable critter in here. I wonder if it's a rabbit or a cat. Where did it go? Oh, it went off that way. Pretty sure that was a rabbit. Okay, that's 4 little baits. Sometimes I wonder why in the middle of winter I'm trying to catch certain fish like catfish when I know what fish right now are biting really good. The best one, the biggest one, not the biggest fish, but the one that is feeding the most, that is trout. The one that's biting the most right now, speckled trout. That's what I would love to be going for, but close at hand there's the river, right? The river might be chocolate milk, but it is the closest body of water with the most fish. Doesn't have speckled trout. There we go. It's not out of the question catching catfish or other fish in the river right now. It's just really, really difficult. And I know there's a lot of people that would love to see me pull a catfish out of the river right now. But we are into the winter skunks. Whoa, there we go. That was a good one. We'll probably get a bait. Yeah, the winter skunks, that's a real thing. Just have to keep going. When you get into December and January and you get these really horrendous cold fronts, there's quite a few places where you can go and do really good on trout from the bank. Trout and sockeye, trout and crappie is a species that you don't always get to fish for from the bank all year round, right? There's a certain time of year where it's good down here for crappie and trout from the bank, but in most situations the rest of the year it's dudes in boats talking all about catching trout. And I'm not a dude with a boat. Sometimes I'm a dude in a boat. I think there's a lot of fishermen that watch this channel that are not dudes in boats. I know there are people who watch this channel who have boats, but if you don't have a boat and you want to catch trout or crappie from the bank, there are those times of years that exist, and this is one of them for trout and possibly crappie still right now, but later, definitely later on in January and early February, crappie from the bank again. They'll be doing their spring feed up, you know, well, basically their spring pre-spawn feed up is what I mean, even though it's technically not spring. Late January, early February. Can feel like spring here that time of year, but it's looking like it's not gonna feel like spring till almost the very end of January. Got a lot of cold weather coming. Looks like we're probably going to be seeing dirty water around this town for a good while too, because of that weather coming. There's still some good bites here. What do I got? 5. Gotcha. Oh, that's a good size one right there. Whoa. Whoa. What's going on? It's the second one of that size. Gotcha. But you're too small. On a technical level, my daily purpose has been fulfilled. But not technically, because I haven't... Oh, there it is. I haven't got to the house and started editing. The video is still in progress. Well, I think I want to catch one more fish at least. It is early. I am really close to calling this. There is a possibility that I'm going to go fishing again later with a friend. So might as well call this because I have enough bait. But the fish are biting here. I don't see a bass thing developing. Might be just a waste of time to look for bass. Oh, there we go. No doubt they're feeding, and there will be a bass bite, but trying to find them, trying to get them to hit an artificial, big challenge when you have conditions like this. But the shaky head is good for that. Perhaps later. Gotcha. Ho ho ho. That's a good looking bait right there. Good looking gill on a little piece of worm. Not necessarily the fish that glory is made of, but it is the fish that makes you feel like a kid again, even though I am nowhere near being a kid. Yeah, you're right. Fulfillment comes one day at a time, and tomorrow is another day. We'll see where we can go. Sit on the river, maybe have a fire, or the next video is later tonight. Yeah, you're right. Got to keep going. Hey, thanks for watching and all that good stuff, and I will see you next time.